New camera day. It's an experience that every photographer has had. Whether you walk into your local camera store or anxiously await for the delivery driver to drop it off at your front door, for many aspiring photographers, this is the dream. To get that camera, to bring it home, and unbox it. There is a lot of camera gear and a lot of cameras that get released. And in some cases, it ends up being a camera that a lot of people are interested in and a lot of people go out and end up buying. But in some cases, the camera or the camera gear ends up being super niche, or maybe it's a camera that's designed for a specific type of photography, or it's a camera that is super expensive. This camera kind of sits somewhere in between. It's a camera that a lot of photographers talk about and probably would own if given the chance. But it's also a very niche camera, and for many photographers, myself included, it's kind of like the dream camera. Now, there's also another consideration when you're a content creator, or specifically a content creator that talks about cameras. As many of you know, I am a Canon photographer. Those are the cameras that I've been shooting on the longest. Those are the ones that I personally choose to buy. And so when I talk about camera gear or I give photography tips, a lot of those are through the lens of being a Canon photographer. But you might not be a Canon shooter. You might be a Sony shooter, or you use Nikon, or you have questions about Fujifilm. And so whenever I make a piece of content, I have to take those things into consideration. That whatever I make is not only something that I'm interested in, but is also something you're interested in. So it becomes a combination of both of those things, which is exactly what the camera is that's inside this box. When I started my photography journey almost 15 years ago, the very first camera that I ever purchased was the Canon Rebel T1i. Now, I used that camera for almost 2 years before finally saving up enough money to upgrade. And the main reason that I upgraded was because I wanted a camera that had a slightly bigger body, because the Rebel cameras, the smaller cameras like the Canon R100 or the R50 tend to be a little bit smaller. And if you want something that you can put a big lens onto, or you can kind of hold it and it just feels a little bit heftier, sometimes you do want to upgrade just for those reasons. And so I ended up upgrading from a slightly smaller camera to a slightly larger Canon 60D. So I stuck with that camera for 7 years before finally upgrading to the camera that I'm actually shooting on now, the original Canon R6. And that was ultimately what launched what I do now. It was the beginning of my YouTube journey. And since then, I've been super fortunate to upgrade to some of the L series lenses that I now own. And I've also been fortunate enough to test cameras and lenses from pretty much every major brand, or at least every major brand but one. If you remember last year, I did a little mini series on shooting with a medium format camera, or shooting with the Fuji GFX 100 II. And I thoroughly enjoyed shooting with that camera. Like, that was an experience. It's really hard to explain if you're coming even from a full frame camera, but to jump to a system like that is almost a dream come true. And I don't know if you noticed, but I actually have the GFX over here. This is the kind of like the newest version, or the newest iteration of the GFX. This is the Fujifilm GFX 100S 2. So it's very similar to the 2 that I tested last year, except it's the S model. Photos from this to come. Unfortunately, this has to go back tomorrow. I don't get to keep it as much as I would like to, but this camera I do get to keep. And in some ways, this is the exact same as the Fuji camera, as the GFX camera, but some might even say that it's better. So Hasselblad reached out and, I can't believe I'm saying this. Hasselblad reached out and decided to give me an X2D. And this is the first time ever that I get to keep one of the cameras that has been loaned out to me. So for reference, a lot of YouTube reviewers will get sent lenses and sent cameras, but we don't get to keep them. We have to send them back. Now, this is an exchange, so I will be making content of the X2D. You'll see that probably over on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. But honestly, the opportunity of trading that content for this camera means that now I can test a camera that I wouldn't otherwise get to test and bring you a bunch of cool, new, fresh content and probably a unique perspective about a camera that otherwise I would never get any hands-on time with. So first and foremost, thank you to all of you who subscribe, who watch my videos here and on Instagram and wherever you watch my content. Oh my gosh, this whole thing is made out of like, I wanna say it's like an aluminum finish. We need to put it side by side with the GFX. But my mission with the Hasselblad, with the X2D, is to share with you what the experience of using this camera is like, what the lenses are like, what it's like to edit the photos out of this camera. Because otherwise, without this type of experience, without this mission, the dream of getting to shoot on a Hasselblad camera would simply remain a dream. Now, there's a good chance you also have a dream, whether it's a dream camera or a dream photo shoot or a dream video shoot. And I actually wanna help you make that a reality. So let me ask you, if I gave you $100,000 to shoot with any camera that you want, to shoot in any location, or to film your dream video project, what would that be? Because that is exactly what Artlist is doing with their Artlist 100K fund. They're giving away $100,000 to one creator, one photographer, one person with a dream to turn their project, their dream project, into a reality. Now, if you remember last year, Artlist actually launched their 100K fund, and this is the second year that they're making that happen. So no matter what type of creator you are, whether you're a photographer, a videographer, shorts, YouTube, whatever it is, they wanna hear your idea. Now, I know for me, because I'm not allowed to enter, but if I was allowed to, I guarantee you, I'd be doing some sort of crazy North Pole expedition with polar bears and Arctic wolves and staying up and shooting the northern lights and basically capturing as much epic content as I possibly could. Or maybe you've always wanted to film panning photos of a Lamborghini driving through the desert while you're hanging out of the open doors of a Black Hawk helicopter and lightning is striking a mountain range in the distance. Well, this might be your chance to turn that into a reality. So the Artlist 100K fund is open now until October 24th. So if you have an idea, definitely get it in today. And to join, what you need to do is to post your video on your socials. You need to tag Artlist and use the hashtag that's on the screen right here. But for all that information and for the details, check out the link down in the description. Now, if it's past October 24th, you still can get involved with Artlist. As usual, on all my videos, you can find a link down in the description to get 2 months free off of your annual plan, which is honestly the best thing that you can do if you want to do this. If you want to turn your dream into a reality, having music, having stock footage, having sound effects is one way that you can instantly level up all of the content that you create. So make sure you check out those links and you check out Artlist and all the incredible resources that it has to offer. And thanks to Artlist for continuing to be a sponsor of this channel and everything that I do. Since trying medium format for the first time last year, I've kind of fallen in love with what these cameras are able to do, or at least with the types of photos that they're able to capture. Now, if you haven't seen any of those videos, I'll link them up here, or if you have any specific questions about the Hasselblad or even about the GFX system, because there are some similarities between them, let me know down in the comments. Now, I should say this isn't a replacement for full frame. Like, you shouldn't automatically assume that because the sensor on a medium format camera, or actually technically Fujifilm wants you to call the GFX a large format, but the sensor on the Hasselblad and the GFX, they're the same size. They're not quite the exact same size as a film medium format camera, but they are larger than a full frame camera. And so in this case, if I show you, and I'll grab one of my Canon cameras here in a second. Compare that to the sensor on the Canon R6 that you're seeing on the bottom. You can see there's a big size difference, and that comes with a lot of technical advantages. So if you are a commercial photographer and you need to do super high resolution photos for a billboard or for a commercial shoot or for a magazine, well, there are a lot of companies that are using medium format to get those types of photos. So fashion shoots, commercial billboards, high-end kind of archival work where maybe you only are really gonna take one photo and you want it to be as high resolution as possible. But then for myself, itself, there's capturing high resolution landscape. So this is a 100 megapixel medium format, so larger sensor, but it's also capable of capturing images in 16-bit. But also the nice thing with a camera like this is that it forces you to slow down. And I will say the Hasselblad boxes are probably the nicest boxes. It's got like a hidden door under here with documents, and I'm guessing the battery. It's like opening an Apple product. Normally when I'm unboxing, I would just throw stuff across the room, but this is so nice that I dare not do that. Oh look, we have a strap. The thickest USB cable that I've ever seen in my life. Charger, and I'm guessing a battery cover. Ooh, that felt good. We're figuring this out together. Holy man, these batteries are huge. So the battery is actually like the bottom of the camera. So there's no door, it just, you hit it, and I think, can I do it? I figured out. I haven't figured out how to remove the battery properly. Nope, that's not it. I literally cannot figure out how to remove the battery. Oh, you push it. Oh, okay, I figured it out. So you push it, and then you give it a little love tap. Interesting. Oh, and look at this, there's plastic. Some of the unique features, we haven't even gotten to the lens yet, but some of the unique features of this camera are the fact that it's 16-bit. I think it's the only camera, or at least the only photo camera that I know of that actually has built-in memory. So it has 1 terabyte of internal memory, but let's see if I can, oh yeah, there we go. So on the side, CF Express type B cards, only 1 slot though, because the backup is inside the camera, so kind of nice that you don't have to buy 2 cards or always worry about 2 cards. Under the other door, really clean, really simple. The one thing that's kind of weirding me out are the strap hooks. So unlike some of the other brands that have loops, this guy has kind of like strap hooks that would be like what you have on a guitar. All my guitars are back there, but it's just like a little pin, and the corresponding anchors on the strap are, let me show you. So you have the little strap hook, and then this guy goes on. I think you see that? So if I wanted to use any other strap with this, I'd probably need to take off that little metal piece and attach it to maybe like my Peak Design anchors or something like that. So the one thing I already noticed about the camera, it is a very minimalist design. We have the little button there to release the cap. I'm assuming this is like a aperture preview or some sort of customizable button. The shutter is very clicky. Like, I don't know if you can hear that. Front dial, rear dial, a bunch of buttons that are actually embedded in the screen. So when you flip the screen out, those flip. We've got a pair of buttons here, and then really just 2 buttons on top. But before we turn it on, I need to open the lens that I have. So Hasselblad gave me a choice of whatever lens that I wanted, which is, they actually don't have a huge selection of lenses. They're very limited, and that's for a specific reason. But the lens that I opted for is one of their newer ones. In most cases, I'm probably still gonna end up using my Canon cameras as like the workhorse tools of what I do every day. And that's also because I do a lot of video. And as far as I know, the Hasselblad doesn't actually do video. And so I figured the one thing that I would probably want to shoot on the Hasselblad, keeping in mind that it is 16-bit, it is 100 megapixels, and we're probably gonna be using this not in here, not at home, probably not even in the studio, but outside, is that I really wanted to use this to shoot landscapes, and I'm absolutely struggling to get this box open. Even the bag smells premium. But I figured since we were shooting 100 megapixels, the best lens to ask for would be their new wide angle lens. So that's the one I've got. It is a 20 to 35 E, even the lens caps, look at that lens cap. But 20 to 35 on a medium format camera is like closer to maybe like a 16 to 28 millimeter. Look at the back side of that lens cap. Okay, first time attaching a lens, a Hasselblad lens, to a Hasselblad camera. Red line goes there, and we are united. The The camera package is complete. Made in Sweden. It's engraved on the bottom. Absolutely unreal. Okay, time to power it up for the maiden voyage. Oh, battery's low. I will say the viewfinder is insanely bright. That is probably brighter than my Canon. Is it brighter than the Fuji? Which one's brighter? I am super excited to test the Hasselblad X2D and really see what this camera is capable of and what the photos look like. And if you're also interested and you want to see those, make sure you're following over on Instagram, because the sponsored collaboration content that I'll be doing with Hasselblad will be posted as both YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. But above all that, thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you for subscribing and commenting and checking out Artlist down in the description. All of that continues to allow me and enable me to do this, to bring you cameras that I otherwise wouldn't be able to show, and to test things in a way that hopefully is entertaining and educational to you. So until the next one, whatever camera you have, whether it's your smartphone, whether it's a full frame, an APS-C, a medium format camera, grab your camera, get out, and go shoot photos.